Only Charlie's left. Which room shall it be next? Said Mr. Wonka as he turned away and darted into the elevator. Come on, hurry up. We must get going. And how many children are left now? Little Charlie looked at Grandpa Joe, and Grandpa Joe looked back at little Charlie. But Mr. Wonka, Grandpa Joe called after him, there's only little Charlie left now. Mr. Wonka swung round and stared at Charlie. There was a silence. Charlie stood there holding tightly onto Grandpa Joe's hand. You mean you're the only one left? Mr. Wonka said, pretending to be surprised. Why, yes, whispered Charlie, yes. Mr. Wonka suddenly exploded with excitement. But my dear boy, he cried out, that means you've won. He rushed out of the elevator and started shaking Charlie's hand so furiously it nearly came off. Oh, I do congratulate you, he cried. I really do. I'm absolutely delighted. It couldn't be better. How wonderful this is. I had a hunch, right from the beginning that it was going to be you. Well done, Charlie. Well done. This is terrific. Now the fun is really going to start. But we mustn't dilly. We mustn't dally. There's even less time to lose now than before. We have an enormous number of things to do before the day is out. Just think of the arrangements that need to be made and the people we have to fetch. But luckily for us, we have the great glass elevator to speed things up. Jump in, my dear Charlie, jump in. You too, Grandpa Joe, sir. No, after you. That's the way. Now then, this time I shall choose the button we are going to press. Mr. Wonka's bright, twinkling blue eyes rested for a moment on Charlie's face. Something crazy is going to happen now, Charlie thought. But he wasn't frightened. He wasn't even nervous. He was just terrifically excited. And so was Grandpa Joe. The old man's face was shining with excitement as he watched every move Mr. Wonka made. Mr. Wonka was reaching for a button high up in the glass ceiling of the elevator. Charlie and Grandpa Joe both craned their necks to read what it said on the little label beside the button. It said, up and out. Up and out, thought Charlie. What sort of a room is that? Mr. Wonka pressed the button. The glass doors closed. Hold on, cried Mr. Wonka. Then wham! The elevator shot straight up like a rocket. Yippee! Shouted Grandpa Joe. Charlie was clinging to Grandpa Joe's legs, and Mr. Wonka was holding onto a strap on the ceiling, and up they went, up, up, up. Straight up this time, no twisting or turning. And Charlie could hear the whistling of the air outside the elevator as it went faster and faster. Yippee! Shouted Grandpa Joe again. Yippee! Here we go. Faster! Cried Mr. Wonka, banging on the wall of the elevator with his hand. Faster! Faster! If we don't go any faster than this, we shall never get through. Through what? Shouted Grandpa Joe. What have we got to get through? Aha! Cried Mr. Wonka. You wait and see. I've been longing to press that button for years, but I've never done it before. I was tempted many times, and yes, I was tempted. But I couldn't bear the thought of making a great big hole up in the roof of the factory. Here we go, boys. Up and out. But you don't mean, shouted Grandpa Joe, you don't really mean that this elevator... Oh, yes, I do, said Mr. Wonka. You wait and see. Up and out. But, it's made of glass, said Grandpa Joe. It will break in a million pieces. I suppose it might, said Mr. Wonka, cheerful as ever, but it's pretty thick glass all the same. The elevator rushed on, going up, 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 faster and faster and faster. Then suddenly, crash! And the most tremendous noise of splintering wood and broken tiles came from directly above their heads, and Grandpa Joe shouted, Help! It's the end! We're done for! And Mr. Wonka said, No, we're not. We're through. We're out. Sure enough, the elevator had shot right out the roof of the factory and was rising into the sky like a rocket, and sunshine was pouring in through the glass roof. In 5 seconds, they were 1,000 feet up in the sky. The elevator's gone mad, said Grandpa Joe. Have no fear, my dear sir, said Mr. Wonka calmly, and he pressed another button. The elevator stopped. It stopped and hung in midair, hovering like a helicopter, hovering over the factory and over the town itself, which lay spread out below them like a picture postcard. Looking down through the glass floor on which he was standing, Charlie could now see the small, faraway houses and streets, and the snow that lay thickly on everything. So here's a picture. A picture of the town. Oh, sorry. There it is. It was an eerie and frightening feeling to be standing on a clear glass high up in the sky. It made you feel like you weren't standing on anything at all. Are we all right? Cried Grandpa Joe. How does this thing stay up? Candy power, said Mr. Wonka. 1 million candy power. Oh, look, he cried, pointing down. There go other children. They're returning home.